Toda vez que você vem em mim, incender no movimento, mantém cavalgando de quatro. Toma tapa na raba, de ladinho só botar essa cara de safado que tá querendo vai, então empina. Rebola pra mim, novinha, então empina. Rebola pra mim, vai de ladinho.
No TikTok. No beat do funk. No beat do funk. Ela domina o jogo. Rainha do baile.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Jaime Woods back at it again with another episode of Real Talk. And this time, ladies and gentlemen, we're in the Michael Jordan episode, okay? Number 23, okay? And I have a very special guest that I want to introduce. But of course, before we get to that, I want to go over some things with you guys, okay? We got to get all the promotion, everything out the way before we start this amazing interview today. All right, number one, make sure to hit that subscribe button, or if you already haven't, right? So it's the red button that says subscribe on it, right? Hit it. It's free 99. You're not going to be paying nothing, okay? So do that for me. Hit the like button, okay? So whether that's now or on your way out, but hit that like button. Hit that notification bell so that way you guys know when I'm dropping heat, okay? Or when I'm dropping an interview like what I'm doing today. Because as y'all know, if you don't hit that notification bell, you're going to be missing out on things. You know what I mean? So hit that real quick. So that way you guys can be, on the same page. You guys can be watching these lives as they go on live. You know what I mean? Because sometimes YouTube don't promote these things. And of course, make sure to comment. Give me your feedback. Let me know what you guys think about these interviews. Let me know who you want me to bring on. Let me know any topics or anything like that you guys want me to be talking about in the near future. All right. Another thing I want to mention is make sure, because we're going to be talking about Brazil today, but speaking of Brazil, make sure to check out my Rio de Janeiro vlog. Okay, it's called Copacabana Adventures Uncovering Rio de Janeiro. Okay, so check it out. It's about 30-40 minutes long. It's not too long. Check that out. It doesn't have too many views, so it's a shame, but it deserves more views. But check that out, man. Another thing, guys, is make sure to cop out the merch. Okay, I dropped new hats, tanks, shirts. Make sure to check that out on the Teespring website. The link is in the description. Check that out. Another thing you guys will see in the description is, of course, my Patreon. So if you guys are into exclusive interviews, I'm talking about exclusive interviews with models, beautiful women from Brazil, from Peru, from Colombia, whatever you guys want, all right? We got that on the Patreon. And of course, we have, besides the interviews, we have exclusive content that I cannot post on YouTube because of how sensitive the subject matter is, okay? I just dropped the video with International Zoe about the scopamine situation that's going on in Colombia. We go over how to avoid that step by step, and I could not post that here because it's ridiculous. It's crazy, okay? So we had to post that on the Patreon. Check that out. Only $5 a month. It's cheap. If y'all can buy 4 for $4 in Wendy's and buy all this fast food and all that for cheap, you can definitely pay $5 for a Patreon. That is one of the best bangs for your bucks. All right, bang for your buck in the travel space. All right, but ladies and gentlemen, now that the promotion's all out the way, okay, I got a special guest today. All right, so let me lay down the background over here. All right, so it was April of 2024, literally a couple months ago. Me and my friend Chris, we were in Rio de Janeiro, first time in Rio de Janeiro. And I was like, man, there's this event called Mundo Lingo. And I think it would be a very good networking event to go to. There's drinks there. You know, I like the drinks. So I was like, you know what? Let me go to Mundo Lengo. All right, Ipanema, beautiful area. We go over there to that. I think it was the Ipanema hotel or hostel. We go over there, get some drinks, meet some people, and I happened to see this young man next to me, man. Cool dude, very good guy. And I introduced myself to him, man, not knowing where things were gonna go, not knowing that me and him were gonna have contact, you know, permanently. You know what I mean? And I'm very proud of this brother. He's a hardworking brother. He has a good job, straight out of Rio de Janeiro. I'm happy to have him on, man. I literally told the guy, man, I got to bring you on because we need a Brazilian man's perspective on living in Brazil. Because as you guys know, I had Camilla here in the past, female, amazing person from Sao Paulo. But I was like, man, I got to bring the homie here, man. I got to bring my main homie from Rio de Janeiro, from Brazil. You know what I mean? But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, let me get him on real quick. I'm talking about my boy Sergio, man. What's going on, my friend? Welcome.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Jamie? Happy to be here. Thank you for
I'm happy to have you here
inviting
too.
me.
Yeah, my
Good.
friend. Let me just lower down this music. It's kind of distracting. All right, there we go. So, Sergio, my friend. So, tell everyone about yourself, man. Where are you from? What do you do?
So basically, I'm born and raised in Nilópolis. It's the second smaller city in the whole country. It's in the suburb of Rio, Dodge area, but a really good place to learn a couple of things about life. Um, I took the first uni was a foreign trade, international business degree, and then international relations one as a bachelor, and a post-graduation big data. And I work today as a global buyer in the oil and gas industry in a French-American company here in Rio. So yeah, I'm 27, and yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, man. I gotta admit, I told everyone already, but I'm very proud of what you do, man, because it seems like your job is super cool. You're out here traveling,
It
going
is.
places. I'm like, man, listen, man, my boy's living the dream right now in Rio, man. He'd even gotta come to the States. He's good where he's at right now. You know?
No, it's something really recent that I assumed this position as a buyer. So I have to visit few suppliers, supplier partners, and I went to Europe a couple weeks ago to visit some suppliers in Norway and Czech Republic, Poland. So yeah, it was really good.
So let me ask you this, Sergio. Are you thinking of moving out of Brazil now because of your experiences in Europe, or do you love Brazil where you want to stay in Brazil?
No, to be honest, I love Brazil. I love living in Rio. We just have one problem here. It's really expensive to live a safe, comfortable life here in Brazil, especially in Rio, Rio and São Paulo. And in comparison with the rest of the country, it's really, really, really expensive. And to live in a nice area where you feel safe all the time, and you're close to the beach and close to the good activities of Rio, like global events like Madonna and Copacabana. If you live in Nilópolis, you're like 2 hours away from these kind of things. So 2 hours to go, 2 hours to come back. It's the same thing about working in the office in the center of Rio. So yeah, it's life here is actually really good, but it's expensive.
So where you're at is in the state of Rio.
Yeah, it's the state of Rio, but it's another city called Nilópolis. We make boundaries with Rio de Janeiro city, but it's another city.
Oh, okay, yeah, because I think people fail to understand, and that's a culture shock that I faced when I went to Rio. Was I assumed that when people, I just thought Rio de Janeiro was a city, but it's
Yeah.
actually also a state, and it
Yes.
has many cool places. I mean, I've heard of Buzios, Niterói. I heard of Niterói.
Yeah. Niterói is another city from the other side of the bridge. Yeah.
Oh, we got fans over here. Alan says Sergio is Pica. What does that mean?
Pick literally translates to dick. You
Oh,
know, or like
okay.
you're it's like you're fucking sick. Like you're great.
Yeah. Shout out to Alan, man. Alan, boa noche, tudo bem, amigo? I know a little. Actually, Sergio, believe it or not, I actually know a little bit of Portuguese. I know a lot more than when I first talked to you back in April, because I hired a tutor my friend Camilla from Sao Paulo, who actually teaches me every like twice a week, every week. So my understanding of Portuguese has improved, but my issue is talking Portuguese.
Yes, because you have the background in Spanish,
Hmm.
so you probably mixed up things,
Yeah, I mix
right?
them up too much, bro. Like, well,
Yeah.
sometimes cuando falo portugués, alguna vez yo estoy falando español. So I need to like separate the two, separar los
Yes.
dos
I,
idiomas, los dos lenguas.
I feel the same when we try to learn Spanish. You realize at some point you're speaking Galician because you're mixing so much Portuguese with Spanish that's not sounding Spanish and
Hmm.
not quite Portuguese. So you're in between. It's the Portuñol.
Yeah, Portuno, man, that's my life right now.
Yeah,
Portuno is
yeah,
my life. Ask my tutor. Sometimes I think I frustrate her because she keeps correcting me all the time. She's like, "No, you're speaking Spanish. You're speaking Spanish." And I'm like, I know. You got to give me a little bit, you know." But this is one thing about Portuguese speakers, whether you're from
yeah.
Portugal or from Brazil. But I feel you guys have an advantage over us Spanish speaking folk to where I feel you guys can understand us better than what we can understand you. Meaning, like, if I were to, si te hablo en español, me entiende, ¿verdad?
Yes, no problem.
Sí, me
Posso entender
entiende
tudo.
perfectamente, sí. Pero cuando me falan en portugués, no entiendo mucho. So I start getting a little
So,
confused sometimes when he speak to me.
Spanish, if correct me if I'm wrong, maybe we will need to Google that. But I think that Spanish has like six phonetics, and we have 15. So
Yeah,
we make way more sounds than the Spanish speaker. And if you observe well, the Latin starts in Italy, in Rome, and then starts spreading as a not correct Latin, then it splits in different languages. So as far as you are from Rome, you can understand the other variants of Latin well. So the Portuguese, the Portugal, because it's in the end of Europe, you can understand Spanish and French and Italian and everything. But I think that a French speaker cannot understand well Spanish or Portuguese because it's
exactly.
closer to Italy, you know. So because we are in the last part of in Iberian Peninsula and the end of Europe, we can understand the other variations because we're the last variation of the regular Latin.
Sergio, I might clip that. I might have to clip that and put that on TikTok because I never thought of that before. Actually, that
Yeah,
blows my mind. I'm like, wow, that makes sense. Why
yeah,
Spanish and Portuguese speakers can sort of understand each other, and why it would be
yeah,
a little harder to understand a French person or vice versa. Because the
yeah,
more France is like kind of more to the side, going more
yeah,
towards Central Europe, and then us, Portugal and Spain is more like towards the other opposite
yeah.
direction. But that's good. But Alan says Sergio is a good professional. Congratulations, man. Yes, he is, man. Yes, he is. Like I told Sergio when I met him in Mundolingo that he has to be one of the best English speakers I've ever met in Brazil. Like
Kind
I'm
of,
serious, man.
kind
You
of.
speak it very well, man. You should be very proud of yourself, man. Like you're basically sort of trilingual, right? Since you're learning Spanish.
No, I speak some German,
Oh,
and I'm studying Mandarin and French, and I also speak a little bit of Galician.
that's 6 languages.
Yeah, yeah, kind of. Like I feel comfortable to speak in Portuguese, of course, English, and at sort level German. But the other ones I'm still working on. So yeah,
Yeah, man, definitely. I would say for you, my recommendation, try to get good with Spanish because I feel like Spanish is a very Mandarin too, but Spanish is a very widely spoken language, especially since you're from Brazil. You're right there next to Argentina and all these other South American countries.
but this is the problem because we have this feeling that okay, we can understand, it's all
Oh,
good.
so I get you.
We will
Yeah.
never have a problem to find a place or to get directions in Argentina or in Chile, these places. So we don't put effort on learning
Ah,
Spanish.
entendí.
We just go there and learn, I don't know, English, German, French, something more
Entendí.
different. Yeah.
See, but I'm over here trying to speak Spanish or Portuguese right now,
Yeah.
because I never looked at it that way. Because the thing is, with me, I guess that goes back to my original point that
Yeah.
it's harder for a Spanish speaker to understand a Portuguese speaker because of the way you guys speak, and then on top of that, you guys speak, especially in Brazil, very fast. Blah, 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 blah.
Yes.
I'm like, what? Like,
Especially in Rio. Rio,
yeah,
we tend to speak Portuguese really fast. In the Northeast too, it sounds like other language. Sometimes if you're a Portuguese speaker and you don't pay attention, you will be like, what the actual fuck? What, what is this trying to speak with me? But as you go to the south of Brazil, you will see that they speak the correct Portuguese, the with the whole conjugations, and they speak clearly and slowly. So yeah, as much as you as farther you go north, you will see that it gets harder and faster and more different from the standard Portuguese.
wow. Would you say that it's that way because of the European influence in the south of Brazil?
I Probably because most of people in the south of Brazil are descendants of Italians and Germans and Polish people. A lot of Europeans that first came here because of the Habsburg Queen that we had. So we're the only country in the New World in American continent, with a German speaker queen. So a lot of people came here, and then First World War and the Second World War, and these people start to learn Portuguese in the proper way. So they start teaching their kids Portuguese that they learn in the right way, correctly, with the whole how can I say, with the whole grammar in the proper way. I think that pretty much because of that.
So let me ask you this. This might be a little bit
Yeah,
of a sensitive, touchy subject.
yeah,
Hopefully, I don't get demonetized for this question.
yeah,
But but I heard rumors, and you can debunk it if it's not true. I heard
yeah.
rumors that back in World War II,
Hmm.
when the Nazi Germany was going down, that a lot of Nazi Germans immigrated to a lot of South American countries, one of them including Brazil, specifically in the south of Brazil. Is that true, or is that just a lie or a myth?
No, no, that's true, but not just because okay we're going to another continent because it's easy. Because we had big ties with Germany at that point. Brazil at some point before the World War II, we had 40 million native German speakers in the country. German is still the second most spoken language in the country. We have more German speakers than English speakers or Spanish speakers
Well,
here.
English, I know for a fact is
Yeah,
1% of the population. So you're a part of that one
yeah,
percent.
yeah.
So you
It's
should. That's
it's
what I'm saying. You should feel glad about that. But I didn't know that German was the
yeah.
second most spoken language in
And,
Brazil.
and people like Mango. I don't know if you heard of him. He was Hitler's death angel. He was one
Mm.
of the doctors that made the craziest experiments and experiences with people, with Jewish people. He left Germany, came to Brazil, and lived his life, like comfortable life as a Brazilian man. And he died here. He had another family, and he kept his normal life until he dies. And people just discovered that he was the Hitler's death angel, like 16, 7 years after his death.
Wow. So not to bring back PTSD,
Yeah.
Sergio. I don't know how big of a football fan you are,
Oh,
uh,
a
but
big one.
but that must have been awkward because you said that the German language is the second most spoken language
Yeah.
in Brazil, which I did not know. By the way, I
Yeah.
assumed it was Spanish because
We,
of how
we,
close
we,
it is to
a
other South
few
American
cities of
countries.
Brazil still use German as official language, along with Portuguese.
Wow. I see. I just learned something today, man. I need to invite you
Yeah.
more often, man. I'm learning a lot. I learned. It's only been how long has it been? It's only been 15 minutes or so, and I've learned
Yeah.
a lot of Brazil. But Sergio, how must that must have been awkward during the World Cup, man, during the Brazil when Germany did what they did. Like it
I,
is the second most spoken language in the country.
yes, I don't know if you know, we still have expression for that, and we use on daily basis. We say, "Oh, this is another 7-1." When something is going wrong, you look to the the person and say, oh, and outro 7-1, mais 7-1, because of the moment. It completed 10 years, like 2 weeks ago, something like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, pretty much. I think what happened like July, literally 10 years ago.
yes, yes. And if you think about the World War II, it's really weird because we're still nowadays the country with the largest Japanese population out of Japan, and we also had a huge immigration of Italians. We're still the country with the largest number of Italian descendants out of Italy, and also German ones. We're the second one behind the US. So we got Italians, Japanese, and Germans here, and we fight the war along with US against Germany
Hmm.
and Italy. So it's really weird.
Yeah, that doesn't really make much. Not. I understand what you're saying, but logically, what went down were all those people immigrating to Brazil. That doesn't make much sense to me, especially if Brazil were allies with the U.S. But let me ask you this, man,
Yeah.
because immigration, I feel like there's a lot of people from around the world because, like you said, Brazil has the largest Japanese population outside of Japan.
Yeah.
Brazil has the largest black population pretty much in
Out
the
of
world. From what I
Africa.
hear.
I think
Yeah,
out of Africa, yeah.
yeah, out of Africa. I heard Lebanese. There's a lot of Lebanese, Middle Eastern people
That's a good one. We have more Lebanese people
than
than
Lebanon.
Lebanon. Yeah, we have around 10 million here. I don't know if they are registered. I think it's like descendant of Lebanese people. I think it's like 2 million registered people as a Lebanese here, Brazil, and Lebanon got 4 million people or 5 million people. So we have two Lebanons inside of Brazil.
Yeah, man. And so that leads
That's
me to my
crazy.
question, Sergio, and
Yeah.
that is, why is it? And I know why, but I want you to explain it as a Brazilian man because maybe you have a lot of more insight into this than I do. But why is it that all these people are coming to Brazil? Why is it that even in the year of 2024, you got the passport brothers, you got all these people that are looking to
Yeah.
move to Brazil? What is going on in Brazil that all these people are going there?
I don't know the right answer for that, but something that I observe, and I think it's for me it's great. Uh, if you're let's suppose here that you're Islamic person or you're I don't know like Chinese, you got to Brazil, you keep your culture with you, but your son, your daughter, they're going to be Brazilians because the culture here is so alive and so big that you can't keep your own culture for the second generation. You know, like you will be embraced by Brazilian culture, and you lost your children to the Brazilian culture. We feel Brazilians, even the German descendants and the Portuguese. I came from a Portuguese family from my mother's side. We feel Brazilian. So I don't know where. I don't know if it's the beach or the match in the beach, the football, but something make a bond with us, and we feel Brazilian. That's great. You can see that in the Olympics. People are just crazy about this. You're watching every single sport and cheering for people, and like sometimes we're the seventh place, and people go there. Yeah, fuck yeah, we're between the 10 big power in
Mm-hmm.
this competition. So yeah, it's a crazy, weird, patriotic feeling because we are not patriotic about a lot of things, especially when we talk about violence or this kind of stuff. But deep in our hearts, we feel proud of being Brazilians. We feel proud of expanding our free time in the beach and watching football games and being passionate about something.
I love everything you said, Sergio. I agree 100% everything you said, man. Because in the United States, it's different. Because in the United
Yeah,
States, when people immigrate here, yeah, they'll assimilate into the culture here.
yeah,
But I feel like with the immigrants, like there's not that patriotic sense. Like I feel a lot of the time, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I'm African American," or "Oh, I'm Chinese American," or
hmm,
"Oh, I'm Dominican." Like my case, I'm Dominican American, I'm Brazilian American, but no one says I'm American. Compared
yeah,
to Brazil, where you could be from Lebanon, from whatever city or country in the world outside of Brazil, come to Brazil, and now you're Brazilian. You
yeah.
know,
And
and And the culture in Brazil. So one of my favorite things about Brazil was the culture. The culture out there is so powerful. I can't describe it. It's just something about Brazil that's magical that I can't describe. But even me, who's an American, when I went down there, I felt Brazilian. I don't know what it was. And I wanted to claim that culture because I'm like, man, this is my first time coming to Brazil, and I love it here so much. I feel like I'm one of you guys. I feel like I'm Brazilian, and maybe it's because of the warmth and the fact that everyone embraced me the way that they did when I was down there. That could be a reason. But I feel like that culture in Brazil is one of the best cultures, if not the best culture I've ever encountered.
Yeah, no, it's different. It's something that you don't feel the same thing in other places and in other parts of the world. It's weird, but I have a fun fact. You know that Kim Jong Un, the dictator of North Korea, he lived his whole life and study abroad in England with using a Brazilian passport.
Hmm.
He used a Brazilian name, a Brazilian passport, an official one. I don't know how they managed to get one, but and no one questioned him because everyone can look Brazilian, even if you have Asian how can I say, like,
Asian
features.
like genetics, like yeah.
Yes, yes, you're still Brazilian. So yeah, it's weird.
I love that you say that because I remember one day I was doing a live stream with a girl from Brazil. I think she was from Sao Paulo. I forgot what city it was.
Hmm.
And I remember at the time I didn't know too much about Brazilian culture. I was kind of unaware of Brazilian culture. But I was speaking to her and they were talking about like Brazilian people and this, that.
Hmm.
So me jokingly being a fool, I asked her, "Hey, do I look Brazilian?" And she looked at me and she like giggled, like almost like she took it as like you silly American, like and then she started speaking in Portuguese, but I kind of got the
Yeah,
gist of what she was saying. Like and
yeah,
she what she was saying in Portuguese was basically that these Americans think that Brazilians have a look when we don't have a look. Anybody could be
yes,
Brazilian.
yes.
And you could be Chinese, whatever, and still and still be Brazilian.
One of the Brazilian symbols is Gisele Bündchen. You know Gisele, Tom Brady's ex-wife.
The model, yeah.
Yeah, she's Brazilian, but she doesn't look Brazilian because she's a blue-eyed, white, blonde girl, like very tall. She's like kind of the model of Southern Brazilians, but she's still Brazilian. And we usually think when we think about Brazilian women, we usually think about a black girl dancing samba in Rio or Salvador or in
I'm
the
thinking
north of
about the
Brazil.
Pocahontas looking girls. That's what I think
Yes,
about.
yes.
Those are my. I mean, listen, man. I need myself a Pocahontas girl from Brazil. That's what I need. I need to go to Manaus, the Amazonian River. I don't know. I need to go somewhere over there. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, man.
That's
But
good.
but yeah, like you said, man. There's everything. That's what I love about Brazil
Yeah,
is that it's so diverse. You have your white people, your gingers, your black people, your tan people, Pocahontas, anything you can think of. Brazil has it.
yeah, yeah. Like in my family, my mom came from a Portuguese background from both sides, my grandpa and my granny. And from my daddy's side, he's my grandfather from my daddy's side, he's Dutch Nigerian.
Ooh, interesting mix.
And my granny is native Brazilian. So I came from Dutch, Nigerian, native, and Portuguese. So it's when you dig a little bit further, you will see that you're like a huge mix, especially if you live in the southern of Brazil. Sorry, southern, no, southeast of Brazil, like Rio and São Paulo, where people from everywhere in the world came to start a new life in America, in a different America, in the South America. You will see like the background is really crazy. It's like natives or Portuguese, Italians, and Japanese and everything, and we 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 look this way with so many different features because of that.
So let me ask you this, Sergio. So
Yeah,
because you kept saying, "Oh, I have a fun fact. I have a fun fact. I have a
yeah.
fun fact." So I want to hear one fun fact about the culture in Brazil. But what would you say is a fun fact about Brazil, the Brazilian culture? I want to stick to the culture, Brazilian culture that
Mhm.
maybe too many people don't really know about.
Um, I don't know.
If you
There is
can't think
no.
of that one, I have another question for you. If you can't think of
Yeah.
one, maybe you can
Okay.
save it for
Okay.
later on if you think about it.
Okay. Okay.
But the other question I want to ask you about the culture is, what is your favorite thing about Brazilian culture?
It's the passion. It's the passion about anything. Like you can be playing like football in the streets with the kids, and somebody will be cheering for you, like using fireworks and everything. We're passionate about things. We're passionate about food, about dance, about football. I don't know if you had the opportunity to watch a football game here
So
while
let me
you're
ask you,
in
Sergio,
Rio. Yeah.
what's your favorite team? What's your favorite team in the what's it called, the
There's
Brazilian league?
there's only one, the
Botafogo.
best. The Yeah, of course,
I
as
knew
you
you were
know.
gonna say Botafogo. I had a feeling you had
Yeah.
that Botafogo look. Like the reason why I say that is because I'm a Flamengo fan.
Oh, fuck's sake. All,
Yeah,
all
man.
of you guys, you always come here and oh, we're nice, we're just friendly gringos, and you got a Flamengo shirt. Fuck you.
Oh man, I'm sorry, man. I don't know what it was, bro. I just like the colors. I like the colors.
Oh, yeah,
I
okay.
studied a
Okay,
bit
I
of
will
the
believe
history.
that.
Of
You're
course,
fucking American. The Botafogo symbol is a star. It's like a sheriff stuff.
but fun story though, Sergio. A little, not really a fun story, but I was talking to a girl from Brazil that happened to
Yeah,
be a Flamengo fan, and originally I went there because I love soccer. I love football. It's my
yeah,
favorite sport. So I pick a team from each country that I like.
yes.
I didn't know what team to pick, and it happened to be Rio de Janeiro, and she was from Rio de
Mm,
Janeiro, and she's a huge Flamengo fan. And I was talking to her one day, and I told her, "Hey, I don't know what team to pick. I'm thinking Botafogo. I'm thinking Vasco. I'm thinking what's that other team? Palmeiras. Eh,
Fluminense.
see, Sao Paulo FC." And she's
Yeah.
like, "Listen, there's only one pick, baby. If you're trying to date a girl like me, you gotta pick Flamengo. Flamengo's the way to go." So not saying I did it because of her, but she was
Yeah.
definitely one of those factors that caused me to lean
The,
that direction.
uh,
You
but
know
the
what I
thing
mean?
is, it's really easy to be a Flamengo fan. You just say, "Oh, I'm Flamengo." You don't need to go to the games. You don't need to buy a shirt. You just say, "Oh, Flamengo." It's the standard. It's
Yeah, I
easy.
think everyone's a Flamengo fan in Brazil, right?
No, it's a lot of people like Flamengo and Corinthians. They're probably the biggest uh, um, teams when it came from when we were talking about the size of the quantity of fans. I think that Flamengo is something around 20 million people. This is like for Scotland, for
Isn't
Scotland's of
Lucas
people.
Paqueta? Isn't Paqueta
Yeah, he
going
came
back to
from.
Flamengo?
No, he came from Flamengo. I don't know if he's coming back. I don't think so. Didn't
Because I think
heard about this.
he has a scandal or something going on with like that he made a
Yes.
betting stuff or whatever it was.
Yeah, I think it's something to deal with his brother. That his brother and his brother friends are betting and weird stuff that he did in the game. It looks like they knew that he was about to do the things, and it's a big story there and Britain right now because he's playing there in Premier League. So yeah,
Yeah, man, I love Brazilian football. See, I know a thing or two about Brazilian culture. I keep
yeah,
track of what's going on down there, even though I'm not from down there. But I picked Brazil as my national team because I'm Dominican. My ancestry is from the Dominican Republic, from Spain,
yeah,
from Africa. But Dominican Republic isn't the best in soccer and football.
yes.
We're more into baseball. That's what we're good at. We're
Baseball and basketball. Your
yeah,
national basketball team is good.
so I would say what Brazil is to football, Dominican Republic is to baseball. We're the
Mm,
best at baseball. Brazilians historically are the best in football.
yeah.
So I was like, man, I need to pick Brazil as my national team. So that going forward, Brazil is my national team. But speaking of the culture, let's talk about a couple of cons or negatives about Brazilian culture.
Yeah.
What would you say is one of those things that you don't like about your own culture?
I don't like how people normalize violence here because we're so used to that people just feel, oh, it's okay. Like, yeah, someone got shot in the middle of the street, and it's just normal. It shouldn't be normal, but people just act like this is a normal thing, a normal topic, and we should accept that because it's just there all the time, and we can't change things. I've heard from like close friends, that people that smart, went to school, university, they look at me when we're talking about politics and this kind of thing. They say, "Oh, my vote is just one more vote. It won't make a difference. So I'm not going to vote for this candidate that I know that there's no chance. Even though I know that he's the best one, the best choice, but I'm not going to vote for him because my vote's just one vote. It's not going to change everything." So people just feel so okay about wrong things, especially about politics and violence, and it looks like that we are just so used that we don't feel the problem anymore. We just accept. Unfortunately, this is one
Uh,
of the bad aspect.
King Tao says Cuba might have something to say about that. I'm sure they do.
Yeah, the
Thank you for the
baseball.
comment, King. Thank you for the comment, King. But why do you think violence is so normalized in Brazil? Like, what is influencing this? Is it the media, the movies, the music? Because I know the music, like funk and all this type of stuff. I understand a little bit of it. And in
Yeah,
America, for example, hip hop music, the media, the movies, I feel people look up to these characters. They kind of idealize, or not idealize, but they idolize these characters that are violent or gangsters or whatever the case is. So they try to be like these people, especially in
yeah.
low income neighborhoods, which are called the ghetto here in America.
The hood.
So is that like a similar situation in Brazil?
I think that a little bit, but I think that most people that sings, like make funk music about that, it's talking about their reality. I don't think it's because of the media or the movies or everything. I think that we are very nice people. Don't get me wrong. I love Brazil. I love my history, the culture. But along of the history, you will see a lot of violence episodes that we already normalized. Like we're the last country in America to abolish slavery. The last
Wow,
one.
I didn't know
It's
that.
it's it's weird to think about, right? But we
I did
have
not know that.
like yes, yes, and we are the country that most imported. I don't know how to say that, but like brought slaves and the whole America. I think that in the history of humanity, the modern humanity, we were the country that most brought people, slaves from Africa to its own country, and yeah, like it's something that's already normalized in the culture from like from a long past. Can I say this in English?
Yeah,
Like yeah,
along
uh,
history.
yes, yeah, long history. So yeah, there are a few aspects about violence in our culture that we just accept and normalize. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a conservative guy. I feel more conservative than any other political view, but I see that sometimes the police go further, like more than they should go. They break some boundaries here, and people just accept that. And the justice, the same thing, and the politics. I don't want to get political here, but our president was in jail a couple years ago.
President Lua, I think his name is
Lula, he
Lula.
was yeah he was involved in like it's not one or two like tons of schemes. If you're talking about the other branch one, the ones from the um, infrastructure companies, these corruption cases spread through all South America. We had something to deal with corruption in Peru and Bolivia and Paraguay. So we export corruption in some ways. So yeah, we just normalize problems because like we tend to see the good aspects of life here. So if you go to a really poor neighborhood, you will always see people making barbecues and being happy with their families because we focus on positive things. But this is a bad thing because we don't discuss the problems like the low income, the economy, the corruption. We are focusing on good things some perspective that's really good, but from another, it's just like you just keep living your life without questioning problems and trying to change.
So Sergio, I might have a bit of a touchy question for you.
Yeah.
And if it is something that you don't want to answer, just let me know you don't want to
Okay.
answer it.
Okay.
It's
No
okay.
problem.
But this is a question I've been dying to get into
Yeah.
because I think people want to hear the truth from a Brazilian man, a
Um,
Brazilian citizen. Um, but I keep hearing things about the racism in Brazil. I didn't experience it myself when I was in
Yeah,
Brazil. Well, to me, I'm considered white in Brazil, or am I considered black in Brazil? I don't know.
I would say Pardo, which is the
Yeah,
mix
yeah, because I
mixed
know
people.
the 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 standards you guys have there is much different from here in the States, to where
Yes,
I would be considered even black in America.
yeah,
But a guy like you can, I mean, you're Portuguese descent. You can pass off for a white guy. Like white over here means white. Like you actually
yes,
are
actually
European.
white. I would
Yeah.
be latching there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
But
no, I know.
in Brazil, it's kind of like I know people that don't really have much European ancestry. They're just light skinned and they're
Yeah,
considered white in Brazil. But I keep hearing from people saying that Brazil is quote unquote, not what I'm saying, but quote unquote the most racist Latin American country in Latin America, which I think is absurd in my opinion.
I don't.
I don't think
Yeah, I
that's
don't think
true
that. Yeah, from
because
my
you have
perspective, that's not
Argentina,
true.
you have Argentina,
Yes,
which I believe
yes.
is the most racist. But I keep hearing this being tossed around. There's this one guy, I'm not gonna say his name, big YouTuber, big YouTuber.
Hmm.
He said that the same thing. He said Brazil is the most racist country I've been to. Da 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 da. The women don't want black men in Brazil. Is that true? Do women in Brazil frown upon black men? Do black women in Brazil not want black men?
I okay. I'm going to talk from my perspective. I know that probably the experience of a person that's really black, that identifies black, and you can see that clearly has black features would be different from my one.
Yeah,
Yes, I believe that there's racism here, but there's racism in almost every country in the world. I
exactly.
think that in Brazil is more social than the color, is more about money and social status than the color. But yes, there are racism here. I believe I have a few friends, black friends, that face problems like the police would stop them and probably would not stop other friends with light skin features. But about dating black people, I at least in Rio, I can talk from my perspective in Rio. I don't think that would be a problem here. Like my sister, she's considered white because she's more like my mom, and my brother-in-law is black. And yeah, they have I have a beautiful niece that is Pardo because she's right between the
Mhm.
colors. You know, she's a little bit more dark skinned than me, a little bit black, and she's right in the middle between my sister color and my brother-in-law color, and she would be Pardo. And I think that yeah, in Rio, I don't think that would be a thing. People won't think about tending to think about that as much. But yeah, there racism here. You will see that sometimes if a black man enter in a shopping, not dressing really well, like using regular clothes, flip flops, the security guys will look to him and keep an eye on him to check if he's going to do something wrong. And they would not do the same thing with a white guy.
Okay. Because I respect people's opinions. I respect the fact that everyone's experiences are going to be different from one another. So, for
Yes.
example, my experience in Brazil would probably be different than your experience, right? You
Yeah.
know, I'm an
Yeah.
American, you're a Brazilian, two different
Yeah.
experiences. We're entitled to our experiences and our opinions. However, I don't like when people generalize things and make it seem like
Yes.
Brazil's the most racist country in the world when it's not. Right? Brazil
Yes.
has a diverse amount of people. We're talking black, white, it don't matter. Brazil got everything. But I just don't like when people go through a couple bad experiences that they might deem racist. And because of
Yes.
that, now they're going to say that this is the most racist country in the world and that you know, yeah, that applies to all you guys too. Don't come here or don't
Yeah.
date here because the girls here are racist and they don't like black men. I don't like that. Just is your experience. Keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
Stop putting this on other people and making it seem like this applies to every other black man or dark skinned person that goes to Brazil. Um, because I'm sure you know I've seen a lot of white girls down over there with black guys.
Yes. And the other way around too. So it's normal. At least here in Rio, from my perspective, I don't think that this is a thing here. But maybe in other states can be
Sao
true.
Paulo, or
São Paulo, I also don't think so because it's really mixed there. They got every kind of people there. But in the south of Brazil, maybe because they have these white background, they're very European, and I don't think that a black guy or black woman would feel connected to everyone in the same way as if they are white. Yeah, there is racism here, but there's racism in a lot of places, and you just need to watch Libertadores game and the news about the games. If a Brazilian team is going to play, and I don't know, like sometimes Bolivia, sometimes Argentina, Chile, you will see a lot of cases of people pretend that they are monkeys, like being racist. And yeah, I don't think that Chile or Argentina is a racist country because of that. They are stupid people
oh, I
without
personally think
culture.
Argentina's racist from what I've heard. Like I saw a video, no offense to Argentinians or
Yeah,
Argentina,
yeah,
but I've seen videos of a monkey in Argentina, like just a
yeah.
monkey hanging around, and then this Argentinian kid, like small kid, like probably like
Oh
7,
yeah,
is
calling
like,
him
"Oh, Mona,
Vinicius.
Mona, Vinicius, Vinicius." I'm like, "Come on,
Yeah,
man."
it was awful.
So that's
Awful.
taught at a
I
young
saw
age
that.
for them to think that and say those things, and then just the things they've done. And then I don't know if you heard about what happened after the Argentina won the Copa America, where Enzo Fernandez was in the bus and they were coming up with a song, a chant about the French national team, saying that they're
Yes,
not from
about
France, they're
Mbappe.
from Africa.
Yes, yes, I
And I'm
saw
like,
that.
bro, that this is every country. Brazil's the same way. There's a lot of people that didn't originate from Brazil. There's a lot of
The
people in America that didn't originate from America.
the
You
the,
know?
the past president of Argentina, his name, forgot his name now. It's not the actual one. It's the past one. He said that the Argentinians came from Europe, from the ships
Hmm.
that came from Europe, and Brazilians came from the jungle. And he said that in an official speech. And
It's,
later he said, "Oh no, sorry, just made a mistake here. That
no, they
was a
didn't make a mistake.
song." Dude, this is not the type of mistake that you do in a official pronunciation. Like no, in official speech, you don't say these kind of things. So
Nah, I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
think
I,
so.
I
Yeah.
but I don't like. I also don't like to to stick these to the entire country. Like maybe some parts of the country or uh, I don't know, some group of people there will feel that they're special because they're from that place or they came from these backgrounds and will tend to be racist. But I don't like to generalize a whole country.
Exactly.
And yeah, yeah, I
No,
agree
I'm
with you
100% agreement
on this
with you, man.
matter.
'Cause, there's a lot of YouTube content creators that say these things, and I despise it. I'm not gonna lie to
Yeah,
you. I'm not Brazilian, but because I've been to Brazil, because I love my Brazilian followers, like people like you, for example, who I consider a friend. People like my tutor Camilla. There's so many people that I'm tangled to from Brazil that I feel almost Brazilian. So when I hear people
yes,
say ignorant things like, "Yeah, Brazil's the most racist country," and like, are you crazy? Like that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? But I do understand that racism does exist in
yeah,
Brazil. Let's not be
yes,
ignorant to that,
yes,
right? Like every other
yes,
country. But does that mean it makes it the most racist? No, you'd be foolish to think that.
yeah,
But there's one last question I want to ask you regarding this question. Move on to another
yeah.
thing, and then we got to wrap it up. I know you got to go. But I saw a TikTok of this one guy that lived in a favela. I think I posted it on my IG story a while back ago, where he was going over the history of favelas and why
Hmm.
there's a lot of black people in the favelas. What is, do you know the origin stories of the favelas? Why do they exist? And if so, why are there so many black people there compared to other type of people? Is there like
My
racist that, yeah.
my degree is international relations, so I know a bit about history, but not everything. So from my perspective, I think it's because when we abolished the slavery, which was the reason why they take the royal family from the control of the country. The farmers, they're not happy with the royal family giving every year they push further and further to give more and more freedom to the slaves. Then eventually they sign the abolish the document, the law. And when we freed them, uh, there was no perspective. Like They don't receive any kind of help from the government, and people, especially in Rio, they want you to stay close to the work, and where the work was in the center of Rio. So they start building their homes and their houses and the mountains around the center of Rio. That's why we have so many favelas, and they're still growing. Every year we have new and new communities. Sometimes in dangerous areas, when we have big heavy rains here, people tend to lose their homes and their lives in landslides. Can I say landslides? Is it the right word?
Lens lights.
Landslide. You know when
Oh,
the avalanche
landslide. A landslide.
landslide. Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
landslide because they're building in the dangerous areas that they shouldn't, but they don't have other place to be the home. We don't have how can I say, like, the projects of nation. We have projects of government here. You want to build things in your 4 years of government here, and if another guy from another party wants the election, he starts building his own project and not taking the keeping the projects of the previous governor or president. So we don't have a plan to create affordable houses or to give a decent place for these people to live. So it's a historical problem here, and the the slaves, when they got their freedom, they start building homes close to the work. And in the case of Rio and the mountains around the center, that's why we have the favelas.
I'm glad that you answered that honestly, man. I really do appreciate that because it's something that people are curious about. Like, why do the favelas exist, and why is there a
Yeah.
high concentration of black people within those favelas? But that explains that very well,
And
man. I
and,
appreciate
and,
that.
and just one thing, the favelas, they're bad, but people from the south zone, from the center, they can see the favelas and the problems. But we have way more problems in down suburb of Rio, and like in suburban neighborhoods and Baixada, which is the region where my city is located. You will see some cities like São João de Meriti, Duque de Caxias, Belfort Roxo. They're full of problems, violence, and everything. But people don't talk much about that in the media or on the TV because powerful people, rich people can't see the problems because they're in the south zone, they're in the center. They don't see what's happening in the countryside of Rio. So yeah, it's a problem in the favelas and also in the suburban area. I know that suburbs in the states, it's a
Yeah,
really
rich.
good area to
Yeah,
live. It's calm. It's far from the center, from all of the people and the noise and the cars. And here, no, it's the other way around. If you live in the suburb, you're fucked.
I didn't know that, bro. I when you said
Yeah.
suburban, I would assume it'll be safe, but
No,
yeah,
no.
I'm
Oh,
surprised.
we have a lot of subjects for a new program. We have a lot of things here going on here. You have the gambling cartels from Jogo do Bicho. They basically split the state in the 70s. There is a good TV show about that, Value Escrito. Later I can send it to you. And we have the trafficking dealers, different factions, and also the militias, like armored groups commanded basically by ex policemen or and corrupted people, and they're everybody's disputing territories here in Rio, and you basically have the south zone in the center and a few other places in the state that is controlled by the state. The other ones are kind of controlled, but more by the non official power. So yeah, it's a complex matter here.
I did not know that, man.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you're talking about this. So much stuff that I've learned just from this interview, man. I gotta get back on the other one. You know what I
I
mean?
talk a lot. You keep leaving me speak, so I'll keep talking.
Yeah, man. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions regarding a couple more lighter
Yeah,
tone type of stuff. 'Cause I think we dove into a lot of serious dark stuff. And I
yeah,
gotta
yeah,
mix it up and lighten it up a bit. But
yeah.
I definitely got to get you on for a round two, maybe on a weekend where you and I have more time. But
Yes.
Sergio, let's dive into living in Brazil as a man, as a Brazilian man, what is your experience in when it comes to living in Brazil as a Brazilian man, and how does it differentiate from, let's just say, being a woman in Brazil? Would you say it's tough to be a man in Brazil?
I think that in general the culture here is about like men need to go to get a job really soon. If you're 18 and you don't have a job, go to the army, do something with your life. I'm talking about the regular culture. It's more like these. The men go to work. The daughters, the girls, they go to the uni. They go pursue they go to get some education, to get a good job, and the men have that pressure of, okay, you need to pay the bills, you need to help at your home. And as you know, as you probably know, we usually live with our family here because very expensive to
Yeah.
buy your own property. And in the US, you just make a mortgage, and after uni, you go live by yourself, or you gather with few friends and you start renting apartment together. But here, no, we live with our family, and we need to help at home, to provide for most people, like regular people here. This is the the logical path, So I think that we have a lot of pressure to do something with our life, and the family is all the time worried about, okay, is he getting in a gang, or I don't know, like start using drugs or these kind of things. No, he needs to get a job, and he needs to go to a church. He needs to find his path to a good life. So you can feel the pressure of people asking you and trying to put you in the correct place, and like, go work. You need to provide. Men here, we provide. So that's what I feel from my experience.
A couple of things. You said a lot of interesting things. Um, because you said that in Brazil, you have a lot of people, not just men, but men and women that would live with their parents well into maybe their 20s or even their 30s, from what I hear,
But
which is
40
similar.
sometimes.
Yeah, I heard the same thing in Italy. Italy
Yeah.
does the same thing. A lot of other countries and even Latin American countries do the same thing. So it's not something that's strange. I think America might be one of those countries that it's like the opposite, where it's like as soon
No.
as you turn 18, 21, okay, get out of my house, get out of the house, because men here don't feel like men unless they have their own place. In
Yeah.
Brazil is a much more different experience, to where the men in Brazil, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, the men in Brazil feel like they have a duty to not only become their best selves, but also to be there for their family and make sure that they support
Yes.
their family, because there's not as many opportunities as, let's just say, here in America, where your parents here in America are probably well off. They don't need
Mhm.
any protection or provision or money, because they can do it on their own.
Yeah.
So the man that moves out the house doesn't feel the need to always visit and pay the bills and all that, because the parents are well off, compared to Brazil, where the parents could be low income. They're depending on
Yes.
you, or the household, to pay the bills. So that's also one of the reasons why I would assume a lot more people stay at home, so that way they can look after not only themselves, because it's expensive, but also their
Yeah.
family.
Yes,
Um,
and also how my generation and one generation before, they're the first generations to pursue a university degree, because now it's more easy, it's more affordable. You can do it online, so it's cheaper. There's a part-time university, but before, like back 30 years ago, you need to make a choice: or you go to work, or you go to study. You can do both at the same time. But for most Brazilian people, you need to work to provide for your family and for yourself. So my dad, for example, he chose to work to provide for family. But my mom, the other way around, she went to the university,
okay.
because we expect that women go to university and pursue a degree, and go do good things, with her life, be more structured. Can I say this?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, no, you said it correct. Yeah, structure.
yeah, and the men know that they need to provide.
So this is another. See, I was talking about making lighthearted questions, and now I'm over here talking about life as a
Yeah, no,
man,
no
and it's
problem, no
tough. And
problem, no problem.
but you don't have to answer this one. This is another
Yeah,
touchy one. But since we're on the topic of women in
yeah.
Brazil, um, because something that I noticed that shocked me about Brazil, specifically with the women in Brazil, is just how, in some ways, how similar they are to American women. And here's what I mean by that. Brazilian women are the most fun women that I think I've ever met in my life. However, they have this. I feel like feminism is big in Brazil. Would you say that's the truth, or is that something that might just be something that I misinterpreted about Brazil?
Um, I believe that in the new generation, people under 30 years old, like 27, 26, the girls tend to be really feminist. But the older generations, I don't think so, because we have a very like strong Catholic background here, where the culture tends to put a woman in a place that she needs to take care of the home and of the kids, and the men need to go to work and stuff. But the new generation's more is really feminist, yeah.
I make. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I told Camilla this for shits and giggles. Um, I
Yeah.
told her, hey, listen, I've been matching with girls from Tinder, and I quit. By the way, I've quit the whole Tinder stuff because I think
Yeah.
Brazilian women don't like long distance relationships. So I'm just gonna quit
No,
that until I get to
no.
Brazil. Yeah, they hate
Here is
that.
really physical. Everything here is
Yeah,
physical.
they hate
It,
that. They specifically told me, hey, I don't want a long distance relationship. So I was like,
yes.
damn it.
Yeah,
So
you
besides,
need you need to look for a while to find someone that likes long distance, because here's everything's physical. It's about being close and the kisses and being together. And as you know, people do everything together here. The couples, they go to
yep,
the parties together.
yep.
There's no, oh, girls' night. No, this is something from the American movies. People here go together to the same parties with the same friends. They go to the clubs, the gym. They do everything together.
Yeah, and because the thing is, I'm planning. The only reason why I said I'm trying to match with a girl from Brazil is because
Yeah,
I'm planning down the road to retire in Brazil. So, or
that's
at
good.
least move there. So I'm thinking, okay, let me get the ball rolling and start matching with girls over there. But from my
Yes.
experience, they all shut me down except for one of them. Except for one of them, they all shut me down because they're like, "Hey, I like you and all, but I don't want a long distance relationship." And I respect that. I
Yeah.
respect that about Brazilian women because when I match with girls from Colombia, because I've done Colombia too, the
Yes.
Colombian women it's like they love that. Oh, long distance relationship, sure. But guess what? Some of them do. What some of them do is they ask you for money.
Oh,
Like
okay.
so they're okay with the long distance relationship because they get to
Yeah.
get money out of you without having to kiss you and do all that type of stuff. So they're okay with that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Brazilian women are the opposite. They're like, no, like I feel like the Brazilian women are meant, besides one of them, um, they're very much about the love and not
Yes.
necessarily all about the money. Like, sure, they want money just like anyone else. But what
Yeah.
I noticed is that a lot of them turned me down. They knew I was American. They knew I was a content creator. They knew I live in New York City. So they know I have some type of money, especially if you live here in this area in America. However, they
The
still
green
turn me
card.
down. Huh?
The green card.
Yeah, they turned me down.
Uh,
And another misconception about Brazilian women or Brazilians in general, what I literally was talking to this one girl one day. I
yeah.
was with her. It was in Sao Paulo, and I asked her out of curiosity. I asked her, "Hey, do you want to come to America?" Out of curiosity, she's like, "No, I would love to visit, but I want to stay in Brazil." And a lot of girls have
Yes.
told me the same thing, and I'm like, "Man, Brazilian people are different. You guys
Yeah.
love Brazil. You guys don't want to leave."
Yes. No, no. I think that the regular idea here is to make a lot of money to live a good life here.
Yeah,
People love to visit. People are obsessed about Disney and Florida and the shopping centers there and the whole outlet culture and Miami and the status. It's very good stuff. It's huge here. People would love to visit and to enjoy, but just to visit, not to live. I tend to believe that most people would like to visit to spend time there, but
mhm,
not to live in the US, because you can have the same problems we have here,
yeah,
but some of the problems there are bigger
yep.
than
I agree.
than
As
the
an
ones
American, I'm
here.
patriotic, but you're correct. But keep going, my friend.
Yeah. No, yeah. I think that people would love to live in a better Brazil. like the Brazil that money can provide you. Have a good apartment close to the beach where you can go and run in the sands in the beach every morning, or go to hiking by the end of the day after you left your work. So yeah, I tend to believe that people would love to live here with a better economical perspective.
And that leads me into the title of this thing, because it's called Living the Brazilian
Yeah,
Dream, because people don't understand what that means. Anyone that's never been to Brazil doesn't understand what that means, because they think that the only dream that there is the American dream. But the thing is, the American dream isn't for everybody, because
yes,
not everyone wants to live in America. Like you said, America does have issues. In America, the cost of living is absurd.
it's insane in
It's
some
insane.
few states. Yeah,
And I think it's done like that by design to keep you on the hamster wheel, because they want you to have 2 to 3 jobs miserable. Because if you're miserable and working all the time, you're easily controlled. And so
and
people here don't have lives.
and if you live to pay your rent, you need to keep like
On the
with
hamster
some
wheel.
work. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
you're
the
right.
elites, the higher uppers, they don't want us to win here. So I always tell people, hey, the American dream has evolved. It's no longer what it used to be back in, the nuclear family era, back in the
Yeah,
50s and 60s, where people would buy a home for a couple dollars and they would raise their family, and the husband will be working, the wife will be home cleaning. It's not like that anymore. You need 2 people to work over there. So when Brazilian people tell me I don't want to come to America, I understand why, because the
yeah.
thing is, this lifestyle isn't for everybody. It's tough here. Because yeah, go
And
ahead.
also the English, and also the English.
Mhm.
I think that's a huge barrier for most people from Brazil. The English barrier, it's
But
it's
the
it's
funny
big
part,
for us.
Sergio, is these girls do know English, and they told me I would love to visit, but I don't want to be there because I've heard how it is over there. Because it's
Yeah.
it's a
Okay.
constant hustle here. It's constant hustle, and the Brazilian lifestyle is the complete opposite from that. Like,
I think that we got more balance,
yeah, there's a more of a
work-life
balance.
balance.
Yeah, because I was talking to Camilla. She had told me that in Brazil, they do work in Brazil. You guys work a lot in Brazil. However, it's balanced to
Yes.
where you still got a life. In America, we don't got lives. You know what I mean? And even when we do have free time to do something, it's so expensive to go out that a lot of people prefer to stay in to save money, because it's that
Yeah.
expensive to go out.
The whole idea of somebody having 3 jobs, it's just insane for me. Like they're working in 3 different places. It's just crazy.
More
That's bonkers.
taxpayer money. That's why.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, wait.
the
But,
more
but, but
you go ahead.
yeah. Keep
No,
saying.
no,
No,
go
no.
ahead,
We,
my
we,
friend.
we, we, we we also have this problem here about tax, but at least you realize that and you think about that. You discuss that. Here, people just pay tax, and we have a new how can you say, minister of
Mhm.
economy here that's just putting tax, and everywhere there's a lot of memes about him, people using the a game with the words, like putting taxation in the name of movies and using AI to put his face and the movie covers, and it's all about tax. I can send you the memes later, and but people just don't discuss about that. At least you guys in America, you have a view that okay, I'm working half of my time to pay my taxes, and here
Yeah.
people just pay taxes and oh, I'm wondering why I'm poor. I
Hmm.
don't know. I think that I will vote for the same guy that is putting every day more taxes than me. I just vote for him again. He's a good guy. He looks like a
You
good
know what I
lad.
think it is, Sergio? I think it's all that caipirinhas, and you guys are having way too much fun to think about the taxes. Because that's the thing,
Yeah,
is
no,
that
yeah, you're right.
we can think about taxes here because we got nothing else. We don't got lives. So because of that, we're thinking about our depression. And a part of our depression is the bills and the taxes. With Brazil, you guys have a more balanced life, to
Yeah,
where it's kind of like, all right, we're poor. Like, not saying everybody, but there are poor people in Brazil that struggle, right? But at the
a
same
lot of
time,
people, a lot
yeah,
of people struggle.
yeah, at the same time, they have a family core. They're having fun. They're doing things despite the low income. So because of that, I feel like you guys don't really think about it as much, because you guys are
Yes,
actually
yeah.
happy in a sense.
No, you're probably right about the Brazilian dream. I think that the Brazilian dream here is to have a home, a house, your own house, it's one. If you check the research about that, it's the first thing the Brazilian would say. Okay, my dream is to have my own home, my own house, and then making barbecue for family every weekend.
You
This is
guys
the
love
Brazilian
barbecue,
dream.
man.
Yeah, but barbecue with family, with samba playing in the background, watching a football match,
Oh man,
drink
look, Sergio,
your
you gonna make me want to go to Brazil?
drinking. No, this is the ideal here. Is I think that's also my goal to have a stable life, to just think about my barbecue in the next weekend, watching my Botafogo match against Fluminense, Vasco, Flamengo, drinking a cold beer and surrounded by my family. I think that this is the Brazilian dream, and doing that in your own house, because this is a status, it's a symbol here. I know that in the US the car is a symbol. If you have a big car,
Yeah.
sport car, and now you have the automatic car. It's not automatic. How can I say, like the car that drives by itself,
Oh yeah. You're talking about yeah,
like
the
Tesla models. Yeah, like modern cars,
and
expensive car.
Teslas and all
That's
that.
yeah, that's a status, a symbol there. It's kind of here, but having your own place because it's so expensive and hard to conquer the dream. It's a symbol here. And I think that the Brazilian dream is having your own home and being able to provide for your family and having barbecues with family and surrounded by people that you love. In the US, you're independent if you move to another state and create your life there, take a university like from and a state that is 7 hours by 6 hours by a flight from your city. But here, no, it's to stay close to your family to provide for everybody and to be able to gather everyone in your living room to watch a football match, drinking a beer.
I love that, bro. I honestly love that for you, man. And I know you'll get there because you're a hardworking dude. You're doing big things. You're traveling the world. I think you traveled more than I traveled. That's the crazy part. Is you traveled more than I traveled.
Yeah, but no, but I travel for work, so I cannot be posting and doing so many great things like you're doing in the content.
I
But yeah,
think if you were to, let's just say if your job allowed you to do that, you'd probably be big on Instagram and TikTok with the amount of places you've been to.
I don't know if it's that many places, but soon would be. Soon I will be visiting more and more countries. But yeah, I'm not really a social media guy. If you check my Instagram's closed one, I don't follow too many people. Just people that I found funny on Instagram, like fun pages, and also friends and family. Not interested on that. I will leave it for you because I quite enjoy your content, the videos, interviews, and I'm happy to just watch you doing that.
I appreciate you, Sergio. And anytime I go to Rio de Janeiro, I'm gonna hit you. I'm like, yo, let's chill,
Please,
man. Come to
let's
South
go to
Zone.
a
I got you.
Botafogo match.
I'm
Botafogo
down.
match.
I'm down.
A true match.
I'll be in Rio either in the end of the year,
Yeah.
but it's iffy. But most likely I'll be there in February around Carnival
Okay.
time. But I heard it's a mess over there during Carnival, so I don't know. I might go before Carnival.
Carnival. It's crazy.
Yeah, I
It's
don't know if
out
you
of
even
this
want to be a
world.
part of that.
It's crazy. It's a experience that you need to have at least once in your life.
All right, you know what? You sold me. I think I might go for Carnival. I'll go there and maybe
No, but
Sábado
no,
Bahia.
but to be honest, I like more the pre-carnival
Mhm.
when the school of sambas start practicing for the main parade. I don't know if you know the main parade's a competition
Yeah,
between different school of samba, and they keep practicing. They start now and July, the end of July, August, and they keep practicing every week, like twice times in the week, and it's a big party. And it's in the middle of the week. Here in my city, we got one of the biggest samba schools, the biggest champion in the recent years of the Brazilian Carnival. I think that in the past 20 years, we won 6 or 7 titles. It's the biggest number in the short period. And the parties are on Thursdays. People are going to work in the next day, but they like to leave work and go to the samba school, and enjoy the beer and the music and start putting some practice. It's like a job. You go there, you need to to test the movements and to practice the thing that you're actually doing for the carnival main competition. So it's really fun for me. It's the best part of carnival. I liked it more the pre-carnival than the actual carnival, the actual 4 days. I enjoy the 3 4 months before it.
Yeah, man, I gotta check that out. I gotta experience. I heard so many great things about it. But Sergio, I'm gonna ask you one final question, and then we'll cut this
Okay.
because I know you gotta go, my friend.
Yeah.
But I always ask every single Brazilian the same question. But why should people visit Brazil?
Oh, you should visit because of the people here. People are lovely. We are friendly. We love to show our culture, to take you. As you probably as you experience firsthand, people will literally take you. Okay, you need to come
Yep.
to this party. Let's drink this beer, and you need to go to that place. And next weekend there's a barbecue in my home. You're invited if you want. You just need to come on. You don't need to bring anything. Just bring your presence, enjoy. So I think that the people is the best part of Brazil, to experience how open are people, how willing they are to introduce you to their culture. It's just it's unbelievable. And even for me, as a Brazilian, raised and grew up here, I still found funny how fast people make connections with you. You just I was in the train like a few hours ago coming back from the office in the center of Rio, and in the way in the train I make friendships with like four different people, and suddenly we're talking about our lives and why they look tired in the train, but it's because last weekend they worked in the to refurbish the kitchen, and now he's sending his daughter to the university and this and that, and people are just open. They're keen to talk
Hmm.
to you and to show their lives and to bring you to drag you to their lives to enjoy the moments together. So yeah, for me it's really special to be able to see and to live in this culture. That's why I would love to keep living in Brazil for the rest of my life.
I love that, man. I love how you ended that, man, because
uh,
I think people think that there's nothing good going on in Brazil until they get there and they're like, oh
yeah,
shit, Brazil's great, you know? And that's the thing, man. Is there's so much good in Brazil, and one of them is the social aspect. People are like very social. Even when I was there, people wanted to talk to me. When I went into the elevator, people were like trying to talk to me, and I'm like, me no fala
are,
mucho português,
are you
but
American? What are you doing here?
oh, they didn't know I was American. They thought I was Brazilian.
No, no, yeah, but when you
Oh,
say
but
that you're
when
American,
I told them I'm gringo, yeah, I know what you mean.
yeah, what are you doing here? Tell me your story. Why you're
Hmm.
here this
That's how
time?
they are.
Where are you going? Do you need
Yeah.
tips? I can take you to this place. I can educate you that place. If you're going
Hmm.
to that bar, please talk to that guy that you know me, and he will give you a special discount. And we're just keen to introduce you to the culture. You see that on the social media. You will
Yeah, I
see
love that, man.
how crazy people embrace the American TikTokers, European TikTokers that make like videos dancing funk. If you look to the comments, they're just Brazilian people talking about, okay, you should try this music. Do you know what the lyrics of this song is about? Because this is another good thing. So
But
take
a lot
care
of
of
these funky songs, man, they got a lot of dirty
They're
stuff going
nasty.
on.
They're
A lot of
nasty.
nasty lyrics.
Yes, yes.
I was
You
listening to
better
this
take
one
care.
song. I was listening to this one song called MC Kevin O'Chris. It's by MC Kevin O'Chris. It's
Kevin
called
O'Cris.
Coleccionadora Pirana.
I'm not going to repeat that. I just
And so
leave it with you.
I told this one girl from Rio de Janeiro that actually looks like Giselle Bundchen. She looks kind of like her, a white
Oh
girl
yeah,
from Rio.
yeah.
I was like, hey, this is my favorite song. And she's like, what's the name of it? And I told her, oh, Coleccionadora de Pirata. And she's like, what? Like, play me the song. And I played her the song. And she's like, oh my God, like, what is
No, but you will see that TikTokers and Instagrammers, people will be embraced by Brazilian culture if they mention Brazil. You will see the comments. Oh, Brazil mentioned. What the fuck is a reasonable economy?
It is, but Sergio, I don't understand that. Why is that the case? Why is it that every time I make a video about Brazil, I make a live stream about Brazil, I make a
Yeah,
short about Brazil, there's so much traction and love that goes into those videos compared to any other country?
we're just social. Even in the social media, even the internet, we're social. When I was a child, the big deal. Child in the beginning of my teenager time, the thing was Orkut. I don't know if you heard of this. It was our version of MySpace or Facebook. It was like back in 2006, 2005. Like if you had internet at your home, the first thing that you start doing is not going to the early YouTube or getting a new 50 Cent song to put in your on your MP3. The idea was I need to go to Orkut to add my friends, to meet people, and to organize something to them to do in the real world because we're just social. We take socializing to the limits.
Oh, yes, you do. Oh, I know
No,
that. I
no.
experienced that firsthand, man. Anywhere I went, people trying to talk to me, and I was like, as lost as a deer in headlights because I'm like, man, I don't
Yeah.
understand Portuguese. Like, me no fala mucho portugués. You know? But now I'm at a different level where I can sort of understand it depending on the sotaque. You know, so
Yeah.
the Carioca sotaque I can understand. The Sao Paulo, the Paulista sotaque, it's a little different to me. I don't really understand it too much.
São Paulo, it's their own country. There's so many different sotaques, accents there, and São Paulo is the size of Germany. So
Holy moly, I didn't even know that.
yeah,
Holy
it's
shit.
it's about the size of Germany. We're talking about one state, and there's like 45 million people in São Paulo state, which is half of Germany in population, only one state, so it's their own country. If you go to one side of the countryside there, they will speak with one accent. If you go to the other one, they speak with another accent. In the neighborhoods inside of São Paulo main city, I'm talking about the downtown, different neighborhoods in the middle of São Paulo, they will speak different accents because these neighborhoods in the neighborhood of the Italian immigration, like the neighborhood of Bexiga and Mocha, for example. It's the Italian neighborhood. And then you go to the Japanese neighborhood with Japanese background, and they will speak another way. It's an interesting mix of accents here. So yeah, even in one state, you will find like three, four different types of accents. It's not something more like standard, like California accent. I feel like they sound around the same, and Texans they also have
Their own
uh,
accent.
uh,
Yeah.
their own accent. Here, if some states you will find four, five accents.
Wow. Within that one state. Wow.
Yeah, because of the different background of the immigration, and that's it. So in Paraná, for example, when one city is more German, you will find one accent, and the city that is more Italian, the other one, and the other city that is more Ukrainian, you will find another accent. The countryside is one accent. The center of the city is another one. So it's really interesting.
Wow. So Sergio, thank you so much
Yeah,
for joining, my friend. And listen,
it's a
guys.
pleasure.
I guess you know what, Sergio. Do you have any closing statements you want to make before we wrap it up?
No, just say thank you for the opportunity to challenge myself to make something public in English. I like to push myself to accept challenges, and I love to talk about my culture and my perspective. I need to make it clear. Everything that I said here is from my perspective. I'm not the
Generalizing it.
speak. Yeah, I'm not the speaker for. I can't speak for the entire country. It's very big country. There's a lot of different regions and people and backgrounds. I'm talking about my perspective from someone that is born and raised in Nilopolis, the suburb of Rio, from a Rumble family. Yeah, I just trying to make it clear because maybe what I think about some of the topics that we raised here would be very different from other people think. So yeah, and thank you for the opportunity. It was really good. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, and I'm really proud of what you're doing on your YouTube, putting work. and creating some content every week. I seen you posting things, new things on YouTube and on the Instagram, the lives. So that's great. Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. We're just getting started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we definitely got to get a round two going, Sergio, because there's a ton. You know what's crazy, man? I had this whole sticky note thing full of topics I wanted to talk about. And guess how many of them we talked about? Like literally,
Like 3, 4.
nah, one of them. Just
Seriously.
one. And because the
Jesus
other
Christ.
topics we talked about weren't even stuff that I wrote down. There were stuff
Yeah.
that you mentioned. I'm like, you know what? That's interesting. Let's talk about that.
Keep talking. Yeah.
So
No,
there's still a lot of
that's
stuff
great.
we haven't even dove into that I would love to bring you on for round two. And I'm sure everyone enjoyed it. We had a lot of people actually watching this live stream. Shout out to
Oh,
everyone
that's
that's
great.
watching it and all that, man.
That's great.
But yeah, guys, let me know in the comment section you want to see Sergio back on because he did a fantastic job today, a fantastic guest, man. But guys, listen, we're about to wrap this up right now, man. But listen, let me make my last closing statement over here.
Yeah.
Brazil is a country that I cannot describe. I've been to many countries in the world, and very few of them, or none at all, actually have that magic and that feel that Brazil got. Brazil's is one of those countries you have to go there to feel what it is that I'm talking about. Because we're gonna have our misconceptions about it, thinking that it's dangerous, that everywhere's a favela, until you get there and you're like, wait a second, this isn't what I thought. In fact, this is a great, fantastic place, a beautiful place, a one-of-a-kind place that no other country is like at all. The people are embracing, they're warm, they're amazing. The US dollar specifically can go a long way in a country like Brazil.
Yes.
So the truth is, ladies and gentlemen, the whole point of why I said living the Brazilian dream is because there's so much more than just the American dream. There's other dreams out there. One of them being the Brazilian dream. If you, as a U.S. citizen or even a Brazilian citizen, because I know there's a lot of Brazilian folks that I've met that make good money, that are living amazingly, that don't have to come to America because they're living way better than in Brazil than what they would in America.
Cheaper, yeah.
Because it's a cheaper cost of living there, and it's their people, it's their culture. So why would they move to America? But as an American, listen, you have to consider if you think that the cost of living is high, if you think you feel like a hamster on the wheel, guess what, man? There's other countries there for you. Brazil being one of those countries. You know what I mean? So check it out, come by, see how it is, and live the dream, man. Live the Brazilian dream, man. It's dope down here, man, or down there, I should say. But ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up the live stream. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you so much to Sergio for coming by. You've been an amazing guest. And ladies and gentlemen, we're out. Take care. Ciao.
Ciao.